Hi everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Cat Chat. Now, if you joined us last week, we talked about some pretty dark stuff and some kind of heavy stuff with all of the cancer and the implant illness and all that. So today we're going to talk about something super fun and light. All right. I am more specifically talking to people closer to my age because the younger generation may know all this stuff. But in case you don't, this is for you as well. But for those of you who are around my age, I'm 56 years old and had never really heard of virtual reality or VR, that's what we're going to be talking about today. And if you haven't heard about it, you are going to want to know about it because it is literally changing my life. I couldn't say enough good things about it. So let's get into it. What is virtual reality? All right, first of all, I'm going to show you what the unit looks like, and then we'll get a little bit more into the other stuff, the other parts of it. But this is the headset. This is, you actually will put this on your head just like this. That's what it's going to look like. And once you have that on, you also have these controllers like this, one for each hand. Very important that they're in the correct hand, and there's one specifically for the right and specifically for the left, and when you're inside the headset it'll actually tell you if you have them in the wrong hands. But we'll get more into that later on because I will be doing a separate video on specifically how you set this unit up. Should you decide to get one, I'll take you through a step-by-step setup. Right now I just want to introduce you to it and give you kind of an overview of what it is and how gosh darn amazing it is. So if you couldn't tell, this is my favorite thing. I was first introduced to it when I went to the Van Gogh exhibit here in Seattle, and the end of the exhibit they have a little virtual reality experience, and it takes you kind of through Van Gogh's paintings. And I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen, and I did it twice because it was just so cool. I could not stop thinking about it when I got home. I mentioned the exhibit to my daughter, and she's told me, you can do this at home, Mom. You can have virtual reality at home. And I was like, what? So I was pretty stoked about that, and I started looking at it, and that's when I found the Oculus Quest 2. The cool thing about this, you know, some of the old, this is like the newer technology of the virtual reality. The older versions of it, you had to be tethered to a computer or something like this. This is a self-contained unit. You don't have to be connected to any wires. It is completely wireless, and you do need a Wi-Fi connection. That is the one thing you need to have. So the things that it comes with when you purchase the unit, just to give you an idea, is the headset. But this cradle piece that you see here, that actually does not come with it. I purchased that separately. It comes with just this elastic strap here. You see it's kind of threaded through this cradle. And that's okay, but if you decide that you're going to do any exercising or anything on it like I do, you're going to want the cradle because it just gives you that better anchor on the back of your head. And it's very inexpensive. It's, let's see, I believe I paid about $20 for that. And the other thing that you'll need if you wear glasses like I do are these red and blue rings in there. Those are, then you snap those onto the lenses. It protects both your glasses and the lenses from getting scratched, because if you scratch these, there's no fixing it. You just have to replace the whole unit, which is pretty costly. And the other thing that I consider to be a must-have is a docking station. This is where you will charge your controllers. They each go, the controllers and the headset both go in here. The reason for this is I started out with regular just batteries. I went through so many batteries just in the first couple of weeks that I had it, and realizing how many batteries I was going to go through, this docking station cost far less than the batteries, plus we don't want all those batteries in the landfill. So that's about $100 and absolutely worth it. The cradle is a nice thing to have, but not necessary. The other thing that's a nice thing to have is a case for it, because I'd like to travel with mine when I go out of town. If I know I'm going to have a Wi-Fi connection where I'm going, this is a great little case for it. Also very inexpensive. That case only ran me about $26. Now the unit itself, the Oculus itself, is going to run you about $350, or I'm sorry, $300, and then that comes with a lot of accessories as far as games go. I guess that's not really an accessory as much as it is software. But you get lots of games, and to be honest, there's an awful lot of like shooting games that either come with it or you can get very inexpensive. I had no interest in any of those, and I don't play any of those. I use mine specifically for meditation and for exercise and entertainment. So much to see in this thing, which we'll get into here in a minute. And as far as the exercise portion of it goes, I'm going to do a completely separate episode on the exercise portion, because there's just so many cool things to it that that's definitely a segment in and of itself. But I'll tell you a little bit about the meditation one. It's called Trip, and it's spelled Tripp. This is the most beautiful, amazing thing that you'll watch, and I'm going to show you a little snippet of it in a video at the end of this. I'm going to give you a couple little samples of what you can see inside at the end of this video here, and it's just like so beautiful. It's kind of hard to explain without seeing it, so I'll just let you sort of see it in the video. And what I'm going to show you in the video is just one small portion of it. There's all kinds of different meditations, and you don't even have to go in there and meditate. You can just go in there and just sit quietly if you want, and it's just beautiful. You can go to all these different places. The other thing is Trip is inexpensive. It was like $34 for a lifetime membership. So I mean, you can't beat that. You can subscribe for like $4.99 a month. But who wouldn't pay the $34 for the lifetime, because I use it so often. It's just like such a great thing. So the other things that they have that are so inexpensive, I was so surprised at how inexpensive the apps were to purchase within the Oculus. Like I said, it comes with a lot of stuff that you can try out, and demos, and lots of free stuff that you can use even if you never used anything else. But for me, it definitely was worth spending a few extra dollars to get some of the apps that I really like. For instance, like there's a giant Tetris that's pretty fun to play in a big giant thing, and in a 3D fashion. But one of my favorite ones is a 3D puzzle. And this is hard to describe without seeing it, but you literally you can do this sitting down or standing up, and you put this 3D puzzle together with you have your controllers, and they sort of bring the pieces to you, and once you get the thing all put together, you can actually put your head inside of it and look around. Like for instance, one of them is a monastery, and so once it's put together, you kind of stick your headset inside of it, and then you can see like all the little tiny altars and the vestibules and all the little corridors and everything. It's so cool. And you can also hear the music that you would hear inside of a monastery, like choirs. And then you stick your head out into the courtyard a little bit, and then you hear children laughing and playing. I mean, it's incredible, the technology that goes into this. I mean, my mind was so blown when I discovered this, especially in the 3D puzzle thing. Like, who thinks of this stuff? And like how incredible the technology, how brilliant the engineers are that are putting this kind of stuff together. Anyway, so that's one of my favorite things. I've done all the puzzles in there, and you can choose in there from between 25 pieces up to like 400 pieces or something that you want of the same puzzle, like how hard you want to make it. I've never made it past 25 pieces, and that was enough for me. Anyway, so then the other thing that I've done in there is the roller coaster, which you're going to see a snippet of as well. And this is so real. In my entire life, I've been on I don't know how many roller coasters and rides of various sorts. I've never been motion sickness in my entire life, whether it was in real life or watching anything. But when I went on this roller coaster, I definitely got motion sickness. I was so surprised. I was like, oh my goodness, I think I'm gonna throw up. It was so real because it's such a mind bend, because it feels like you're moving. Like it's hard to describe how real it is. The controls actually kind of shake as if you're in the roller coaster, so that gives you the feeling of motion, and the mind bend that you're not really moving but it feels like you are. That's what started to make me feel a little bit sick. So anyway, and then they have where you can have passengers, and you'll see that you can choose your passengers, and it's just kind of fun. So the thing that you can go any place in the world. This is probably one of my other favorite things. You can hook up your YouTube channel to it, and so you can like do a search for, you know, like 360 Italy or France or wherever you want to go, and it'll pull up all these different videos that are specifically made for virtual reality. And I have literally been all over the world in this thing. Like it's hard to describe how amazing it is, because it feels like you're right there. I visited places that I didn't even know existed, because sometimes it'll just start popping things up. You can go underwater as if you're diving with the fish and the whales and the sharks, and it feels like you're scuba diving, except you can breathe. And it just feels very real. And a safari is another thing. I've spent a lot of time in Africa, and oh my gosh, some of the first videos I watched, like I could feel, you know, I found myself like reaching out, like it was like the elephant was like right here, and like I could reach out and touch it. It is so real, and sometimes a little too real to where I even jumped back, because it's like, oh, they're right there. One of the other places I've spent quite a bit of time is on the International Space Station. Like it's all of these things are available to us through the use of GoPros and drones, and it really makes you feel like you're there. So when the astronauts are sitting there eating their food or doing their missions, whatever it is that they're doing, you're right there with them. You're in the conversation with them. It's like you are in the cockpit with them, and you can see the Earth. And I had no idea what it was like up on the International Space Station until I started spending some time up there. So, you know, if I find myself feeling a little bit bored, I hop on my headset and go up into space. And time goes by pretty quickly on this thing. It does last for 2 hours before you have to recharge it, and it takes about another 2 hours for it to charge again. But that's really a good thing, because you shouldn't probably use it more than 2 hours at a time anyway. Another one that I watched that you'll see a couple pictures of is climbing Mount Everest. I mean, there's a whole series on it that is just mind-boggling of what it takes to do that, and takes you through the journey. Like you're in the base camp with them, you're inside the tent with them, you are up on the ice with them, you are like all of it's just incredible. I'm going to show you just a couple of pictures of that. But literally you can go anywhere in the world, anywhere you want to go. Like, oh, I want to see, you know, maybe I want to go visit this place. And then you can say, well, let me look at it in virtual reality and see if it's someplace I really want to go, because it far surpasses any photographs you have ever seen. Like, you can't believe it. I mean, I think when I went to Venice in virtual reality, the only thing missing was the smell of the canals, because I'm told that is a little bit smelly, but you're just like right there. So anyway, yeah, I guess I could go on and on. As you can tell, I get very animated when I talk about this, because I guess I'm a little bit like a kid when it comes to this, because it is just so cool. I couldn't recommend enough, especially for people my age. I think we just had no idea that this kind of technology existed. I mean, I know that there's some of you out there that have, and you know, maybe I'm late in the game, I don't know. But I know that all of my friends that that are in my friend circle, none of them had tried it either, except for the Van Gogh thing. So You know, I've introduced some of my friends to it too. So I think it is pretty new to my generation, and I just encourage you to try it. I don't even have a TV anymore. Not because of this so much. My TV went out, but I was like, geez, I don't even need it anymore. I have virtual reality. Like, I can literally watch anything on this. And it's just amazing. But exercise is the thing I use it for the most. I've used it every single day since I got it, which was like February 2nd of 2022. And today is August 23rd. So yeah, I haven't missed a day of exercise in there, and it's just fun. But we'll talk about that in another episode. So I will provide links down below for the equipment that I've shown you today. And again, I'll have another episode on how you set it up step by step, because it's not hard, but you know, if you've never done any of this stuff, it could be a little bit tricky. But I'll walk you through all of that. So be sure to check the links. And I'm gonna, at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and just show you a couple of videos of what you can, give you a little bit of an idea of what to expect once you get into the headset. But again, it's definitely not going to seem the same. It doesn't really look real when you're looking at it, you know, through here, not like it does when you're in the headset. So just keep that in mind. All right, with that, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the things that you can see. Okay, I should mention that you can wear your glasses or not with this. It's totally up to you, it just depends on your vision. I choose not to, but I can get by without mine. All right, we're starting off under the deep blue sea, looking at some beautiful coral. This is just like scuba diving, except for, of course, you don't have the tanks and you can breathe freely. This is one of my favorite places in or out of virtual reality. I love the ocean. So beautiful. Here we are getting just a taste of what it might be like to climb Mount Everest. Of course, the documentary that I mentioned earlier definitely gives you the full experience. This is just a snippet of what it looks like from the top. Now we're in Africa on a safari. Boy, the giraffes are majestic, aren't they? And coming up with the elephants, I'll never forget the first time I had my headset on and an elephant came so close, I instinctively reached up my hand to touch it because it was so real. All right, this is one of my favorite videos as well, flying over the mountains. I believe we're in the Alps here, and it doesn't actually say, but that's what it looks like to me. And it's a little dizzying because I am turning in my chair so that you can see all the way around. It's good to have a swivel chair with a virtual reality set so that you can literally turn around 360 and see the whole view. And here we come up on the roller coaster. Buckle up because you are in for a ride. Here's where the anticipation builds, and let me tell you, it really feels like the fear is starting to grow as you climb to the top of this roller coaster. You can also choose the person that sits with you in the cart, and you're going to see my person I chose here in just a second, and it is, you guessed it, Santa Claus. All right, and here we are getting ready to take the plunge, and here we go. And let me tell you, you can almost feel the G-forces as you are flying down this roller coaster, doing the loop-de-loops. That target that you see in the middle there is what you're supposed to focus on if you start to feel nauseous
I
or
just
motion
love
sick.
Christmas time.
It'll help keep that at bay. We are coming into Croatia Winter Wonderland. This place is stunning. Again, when you're in the set, you're going to feel like you're flying through here. But I wanted to give you a little bit of a 360. The icicles are just stunning here. An absolutely magical place. And finally, we are talking about Trip. This is the meditation app that I mentioned. And this is just one of the things that you can do in this app. It's my favorite thing, but you can do many other meditation and focus exercises. This one is like you're inside a kaleidoscope, and there's different speeds. So we're starting off with the very slowest speed, and you can choose the speed and the amount of particles that you see floating in the air. Lots of adjustments. You can do this sitting, standing, or my favorite, lying in a bed. Here we are now speeding up just a little bit at the medium level. Now when you lie down in a bed or in a recliner, in a reclined position, this is really trippy and so relaxing. Very easy to get into a sort of a trance state. And now we're going to be moving into the speeded up phase. This is the fast phase. And we're going to take a look all the way around, do a complete 360 coming up here. Here we are starting to move around. This is where it gets really trippy. That's what it looks like on this side. And now it's backwards, as if you're being sucked back through a black hole and moving away from the universe. I just think that's so cool. And continuing our turn and keeping in mind that you can only see what's inside your headset. You can't see the room around you at all. All right, so there you have it, a little snippet of what you can expect once you get inside the headset of a virtual reality set, specifically the Oculus Quest 2. Please be sure to check the links below, as I am providing links for all of the equipment I showed you here today. Helps me out a little bit. If you decide you want to purchase a unit to go through those links, I'll get just a small percentage, and I appreciate your support on that. Be sure to like and subscribe, very important. Now, if you don't have a YouTube account, you will need to get one in order to subscribe, and it's a free account, very easy to do. I'll provide a link below for you to do that as well. If you don't already have an account, you can easily do that and subscribe. Be sure to watch for our upcoming episodes on how to set up your Oculus Quest, and also the exercise video that you are going to love. That is my favorite thing. I can't wait to share that with you. If you haven't checked out my intro video, check that out, because we are going to talk about a multitude of things here on Cat Chat. Virtual reality is just one of the many things that we'll discuss. So be sure to check that out so that you'll know that you are going to be happy about subscribing on my channel. All right. Thank you so much for your ongoing support. You know I appreciate you all so much. Thanks for joining me again today. And until next time, I hope you have a fantastic day. You know y'all deserve it. Mwah.